What's good, y'all? With Summer League dying down because most of the top players that you and I want to see, that they're sitting out at this point, we're going to be entering the dead of the offseason where there's no free agents, there's not really going to be a lot of trades, maybe some Dame or James Harden trades, maybe, but we never really know when that's going to happen. My point is there's nothing really going on in basketball from this point up until opening night, basically. So to fill some of that space, I'm going to be starting a kind of mini-series, I guess you could say, where I'm going to be ranking the top 10 players at each position. Of course, this video you clicked on right now is point guards, so that's where we're going to start off. And before we get into it, just want to go over a quick few things. Again, these are my personal ratings. If they don't match your exact ratings word for word, that doesn't mean I'm wrong. That doesn't mean you're wrong. Have a discussion in the comments down below if there's something, some type of discrepancy. Also, you can't have two players on one team that are the same position, like Kyrie and Luka Doncic. Historically, Kyrie has pretty much been a point guard. Luka has pretty much been a point guard. Since they're playing together, Kyrie is considered a shooting guard. Luka will be on this point guard list. Spoiler alert. Everything else should be pretty straightforward. So if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the other positions rankings and all the other videos that I put out throughout this offseason and into next season. Leave a like. And let's get straight to it. And like any good list, we're going to be starting off with the honorable mentions here. Right here we have Tyrese Halliburton coming in at 12th and Darius Garland coming in at 11th, both just barely missing the top 10 point guards. I don't want to spend too much time on these guys because I do want to get to the top 10 actually, but Tyrese Halliburton, when you have a 6'5" point guard that's one of the best playmakers in the league, also a 40% three-point shooter. This is his first year having his own team, his first year in Indiana, and he's an all-star already. You can't really discredit him too much. And then Darius Garland, last year was his first time being an all-star. Of course, he brought in Donovan Mitchell onto his team this season, so he didn't really get the all-star nod. That went to Donovan, but his stats pretty much stayed the same, just got a little bit more efficient from three especially. Again, one of the best playmakers in the league, like Tyrese. And a big thing for me is when players step up in the playoffs. If they play at a good level in the playoffs, they have to play at a great level. And Darius Garland did that against the Knicks. Even though he did lose the series as a team, him personally, in some of those games where Donovan wasn't really hitting or this was happening, he turned it up. He was scoring, he was playmaking, facilitating everything. He really stepped up in the playoffs. And speaking of stepping up in the playoffs, our number 10 slot goes to Jamal Murray. Over here, we have his stats for last season. As you see, averaging 20 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists on very good efficiency, especially from three. But again, like I said, where Jamal shined last season was in the playoff run to make him an NBA champion. In those 20 games that Jamal played leading up to him becoming an NBA champion, he averaged 27 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists on 47, 40, 93 splits. You can't get much better than that. I think it's safe to say that Jamal Murray is one of the best scorers in the NBA. He could score with the ball in his hands, as an on-ball guy, getting to his own spots, creating his shots, making pretty much any shot on the court you can think of. And then also, he plays with Nikola Jokic, who's a ball-dominant guy himself, so he can play that off-ball role, the catch and shoot, the secondary playmaker, cutting, different things like that. And I've mentioned this before when talking about Jamal, but I really think that he is an underrated playmaker. We saw he pretty much had double-digit assists in like the first 3 or 4 games of the NBA Finals, which is insane, while also scoring those absurd numbers on them great efficiencies. Jamal definitely climbed his way up the rankings of the point guards, coming in at number 10. At number 9, right here, we have James Harden, who averaged 21 points, 6 rebounds, and led the league in assists at 10.7. James was huge for the 76ers this season. Ever since James Harden left the Rockets, he pretty much has stepped down from I'm going to score as many points as I can and we're going to try to win while I dribble the ball 20,000 times. He's moved away from that and he's become more of a playmaker, back to his roots. Like I said before, James Harden led the league in assists this season. He pretty much is trying to just get all his teammates involved. But do not get me wrong, he might not be the incredible scorer he once was. He can still hit a lot of shots, especially from beyond the threes. You saw there almost 40% from the three. He really is one of the best second options in the league, playing next to Joel Embiid, of course. He had some big playoff games, some 40-point games. Fizzled out in a few of the other ones, so you want to get that better. But James Harden comes in at number 9. Coming in at number 8, we have Ice Trader Gang, Trae Young. He had an incredible season by the numbers, putting up 26 points per game and double-digit assists as well. The efficiencies you would like to see a little bit higher, but still overall a great season from Trae. Trae Young is an offensive machine. I'm pretty sure for the last 2 or 3 years, he's led the league in total points and total assists, which is an insane thing to do, obviously. There's really only 2 big gripes with Trae Young. One, his defense, which, I mean, that when you're a small point guard, there's not much you can really do, and he has kind of picked it up a little bit, which is better than nothing. And the second one, especially this season, is his efficiency. You saw that I think he shot 33% from 3 and like 42% from the field. You definitely want to see that higher. I will give him the benefit of the doubt, though, because in the past he has shot the ball higher. He's first year playing with DeJounte Murray, a new backcourt mate who's also pretty ball dominant, at least he was with the Spurs. So, you know, I'm hoping now that they have a full season playing together under their belt, that mesh can go a little bit better and get more into the flow of the game, get some easier shots going for him, and that efficiency will bump up. Still, Trae Young, one of the best offensive players, I was going to say guards, one of the best offensive players in the league right now, coming in at number 8. At number 7, we have a fan favorite here on the channel, New York's very own Jalen Brunson. In his first season with the Knicks, he put up 24 points, 6 assists, on great efficiency, especially from 3. Shout out to JB. He had an incredible breakout season. So 2 seasons ago, the season right before Jalen Brunson came over to the Knicks were the 11th seed, missing the play-in tournament as a whole. And with pretty much bringing back the same rotational piece guys while adding the addition of Jalen Brunson, the Knicks jumped up from the 11th seed all the way up to the 5th seed. That is very largely due to the play of Jalen Brunson, making things easier for all of his teammates, commanding the offense, playing mistake-free basketball, which is the #1 thing. Knicks fans, as you guys can tell, I mentioned it many times before, I'm a Knicks fan. Knicks fans have struggled with having a reliable point guard, and that's what Jalen Brunson is, reliable. He'll come in, he'll score, facilitate, and play mistake-free basketball. That's all you can really ask for Jalen Brunson. He is one of the best ISO scorers in the entire league, especially when he gets down to that paint with the pivots, the up and unders, the floaters, the whatever it is. Incredible finisher at the rim. And again, like I mentioned with a few of these other guys, he stepped it up even further for the 2nd year in a row now in the playoffs. Incredible player coming in at number 6. Maybe a little hometown bias, but I personally don't think so. I think this is a good spot for JB. We're getting closer and closer to that top 5. Here at number 6, though, we have De'Aaron Fox, averaging 25 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, over 50% from the field as well at the point guard position. Overall, a great season for Fox and the Kings. As many of you probably know, the Sacramento Kings held the longest playoff drought in, I believe, American sports at the time. Obviously, that snapped this year as De'Aaron Fox helped lead the Kings to a top 3 seed out west, which, the West was incredibly tough this season, so don't take that as a slight. Ever since he came into the league, he was super explosive, super athletic. His nickname, Swiper the Fox. He can go at any instant, jump over you, run past you, whatever it is. His ability to get to the rim at will is incredible, what makes him him. But also this season, he added that mid-range pull-up, which adds just another layer into his game, making him so much more harder to stop. And if you catch him in the 4th quarter of a close game, you can't stop him, no matter what you can do. He was Clutch Player of the Year this season, the first ever Clutch Player of the Year, so shout out to him. In the 4th quarter, he doesn't miss. In the playoffs especially, he's one of those guys, steps it up in the playoffs. And then in the playoff 4th quarter, oh my God, it's wraps. So some of those games against the Warriors were just incredible to watch. Pull-up threes, mid-ranges, again, getting to the rim. Whatever it was, it looked like he was doing it at will. De'Aaron is another guy like Jamal Murray and Jalen Brunson that climbed the ranks a lot this season. Shout out to him coming in just outside the top 5. Kicking off our top 5 for point guards here, we have Demetrius Morant. Put up 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists a game. He was a big part of the Grizzlies securing that 2 seed out west. A lot like De'Aaron Fox, as soon as came into the league, he was one of the most explosive and athletic players in the entire league. He has the ability to just spark a crowd at any moment, which I think is a very underrated quality to have as a player that can really spin momentum around. When you're down and you go on a run now, a big play, and now you got all the momentum in the world, you can retake the lead and things like that. He has the ability to just get a crazy dunk off with how high he can jump. He can get some crazy blocks, flashy passes, lobs off the glass, whatever it is. He has that special Showtime wow factor, and I think that's a very underrated factor to have. But at the end of the day, Ja's bread and butter as a player, get to the rim, boom on someone, or use his incredible playmaking to draw all that attention, kick it out to shooters, get the ball moving, and stuff like that. He is the engine that runs this Grizzlies team. I know he's suspended to start the season. I believe it's 25 games, but I'm really interested to see how he plays with the new addition, Marcus Smart, in his backcourt as well. The Grizzlies, I think, could be pretty good this season, and a lot of that is going to come on to John Morant, how good he could be from coming back from suspension. And coming in at number 4, OKC's very own Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Incredible breakout season this year, averaging 31 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, super efficiently also. Shai has broken out this season and became one of the best scorers in the whole league, and I really like watching him score because it's just so aesthetically pleasing. A lot of these guys nowadays jack up a bunch of threes, whether it's contested, step backs, whatever, just kind of low percentage shots. Shai, no, he cut his attempts down all the way to only 2.5 per game, which is very, very low, especially for a guard in today's NBA. But what he likes to do, get to the rim, get fouled, go to the free throw line, and get to that mid-range, and it's just so, like I said, so aesthetically pleasing just seeing him rise up, getting those floaters off, getting to the rim. Before this season, OKC was expected to be at the bottom of the lottery again, especially after losing their second overall pick, Chet Holmgren. A lot of people just kind of wrote them off as one of the bottom feeders, like how they have been in the past. Shai said, nah, y'all can have that. I'm trying to win now. And he did that, bringing the Thunder all the way to the play-in tournament where they won a game, actually. They did lose their second one, though, to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So they couldn't barely scrape into that 8th seed. But a lot of that was from Shai, of course, making All-NBA first team this season. A lot of people did not expect that. Again, one of those guys that climbed the ranks incredibly. Top 4, top 5. Come on, Shai. Now we're climbing into the elite of the elite, the top 3 point guards. Starting off at number 3, Damian Lillard. 32 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. The efficiency is incredible. There's not much you have to say about Dame Dollar here. You know, there's that saying where, you know, someone's a threat as soon as they step past half court. Dame is probably a threat even a few steps behind half court, as we see it in some of these all-star games. But in all seriousness, Dame has some of the best range in the entire NBA, minus a player that we might talk about a little bit later in this video. If you know, you know. But yeah, Dame can seriously score from any place on the court, however far back, however close. Of course, he's known for his long-range threes, step backs, whatever it is. He's known for his three-point shooting. But he is an incredible finisher, especially this season. He took it to like a whole nother level with finishing at the rim. And what I think is super impressive is how high of a volume he is while shooting threes, and how a very big chunk of those are self-created threes, and he still is one of the most efficient shooters in the league. Like, that is really, it blows my mind. And then you want to add on the fact that he is probably the clutchest player in the whole league. I have seen countless times and times again, buzzer beater, game winners, game tires. They're down in OT. He just crawls back and climbs them in. What immediately comes to mind is from a few years ago when they were playing the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs, and you had Austin Rivers praying that he missed, or praying because he missed. Stuff like that you can't really like put into words and fathom on a stat sheet. That's why Damian Lillard is a top 3 point guard in the league. And at number 2, we have Luka Doncic here. 32 points, 8.5 rebounds, 8 assists. Just all in all, an incredible player, incredible season. Shout out to Luka. There's really not much that Luka can't do on the court with his skill and his size. So he has the ability to put up some of the craziest stat lines in the NBA. Of course, he had his 60, 20, and 10 triple-double in that overtime victory against my Knicks. Just an incredible player, again, can really do whatever you need him to do on the court. And then kind of like how I was saying with Dame, how he has this, that it factor, that clutchness, that whatever, he could just hit incredible shots. Luka also has that. He's got that Luka magic where he'll hit just these crazy circus shots, and one step back deep threes for game, just different things like that where you can't put that on a stat sheet. You can't really put it into specific words, but he's got that it factor. When you have a player like that, both Dame and Luka, you need them in the playoffs. They are built for the playoffs. Both of these guys didn't make it this season, but next year, hopefully they do. And I'm sure you guys probably know with process of elimination here, number 1 point guard in the NBA is still Steph Curry. 29 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, the efficiency through the roof. I mean, he been doing this, man, come on. I don't think there's much I really have to say about Steph Curry to explain to you why he's the best point guard in the NBA. He's the best shooter in the league right now by far. Best shooter of all time by far. The Warrior system is entirely built around him and his gravity on offense. The way he can shoot the ball, teams have to specifically key in on that and that only. So the Warriors take advantage of that and built a whole system around him. He, for a very split second, maybe a week or two, held the record for most points scored in a Game 7, talking about stepping up in playoffs, stepping up in crucial times. He dropped 50 points in that Game 7 against the Sacramento Kings to bring the Warriors to move on to the next round. Again, I don't think I have to say too much about why Steph is the best player in the NBA, or not best player, I'm bugging. Best point guard in the NBA. He gets the #1 spot. And that is my top 10 point guards in the NBA right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know what the wildest one is in your opinion for me, the most furthest away from where you have it on your list. And again, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the positions. We're doing shooting guards, we're doing small forwards, power forwards, centers. Maybe we'll do 6 men, maybe we'll do rookies, maybe we'll do a bunch of different things. I don't know. If you have any ideas that you want to see, make sure you leave that in the comments. In the description, there's links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.